Thank you, Foy. Okay, so you're all being recorded now. I look very carefully at quiz psychometrics. So I get something called the phi coefficient, which looks at how the question performed across the class. And then I look at something called the degree of difficulty, which essentially is how many students had the question correct or missed the question. Usually, if more than half the class misses the question, it's because the content was not clear, because half the class doesn't miss the question unless either I didn't clarify it well, I didn't present it, okay, or the question had problems in it, okay? So I do reserve the ability to throw out questions, and you'll see your grade will improve when that happens. It will never go down. Your grade won't go down, but it can get better, okay? So the grade that you receive at the end of the quiz is the worst it can be. It's only going to go up from there, okay? Other questions about the quizzes? All right, we took care of a whole big chunk of the syllabus. So you can pull out, I don't know if you have a paper copy of the syllabus, or those of you who have it electronically. I am going to pull up my copy, which is remote here on my computer. What did I do? All righty. What you're going to see me do is down at the bottom, there's a green box. You don't have to do anything. I'm just teaching you because in another class, if you do a presentation, you'll need this. So down at the bottom of Zoom is a green box, and I'm going to click on Share My Screen, and I'm going to click on the Word document, and what you're seeing just changed. Did everybody see that happen? So what now you see is my copy of the syllabus, and you should start to see it scroll. Do you see it scrolling? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't you love technology? It works. Okay. So you don't even need a hard copy of the syllabus. It's right here in front of you. Now I can still see you through Zoom. You're down a little panel on the right-hand side is what you can probably see. So when you see this syllabus immediately, you can see that it's a 3-credit course. It's considered to be an online course offering because we will not meet in a face-to-face fashion other than using Zoom. Each week, we have what are called PRN Zoom classes. Did everyone see that in the topical outline? Okay. The PRN Zoom classes are PRN, which means you do not need to attend them. They're not mandatory classes. However, if you're one of those students like me who needs to have that face-to-face interaction, who needs to sit down with the instructor and have questions answered, or let's say that there's a question that you have that really was unclear, you just have a question, come to that Zoom class. We can talk through any questions that students have, or if the PRN Zoom meetings happen after the previous quiz is closed, so they start at 4 o'clock, so I can discuss individual quiz questions. If there's a quiz question that you have that was problematic, those are all reasons to come to that Zoom room. So again, there's no punitive impact if you do not come to the Zoom room. I'm not taking attendance, okay, so don't worry about that. And there's some students that this Zoom meeting is the only time I'll see you across the semester, and that's fine. On this syllabus, I have listed my office number and my home phone number. My home phone number is absolutely an opportunity that you have to get in touch with me. So this is an online course offering. We need to have a lot of flexibility in being able to contact each other. So please do not hesitate to call me at home once I'm home. So the caveat is I won't be there until June 5th. but that's really totally an option. The only kind of limits I put on that is I ask you please not to call my home after about 9:30 at night. I totally turn into a pumpkin at 9:30. My brain doesn't function any longer, and I can't answer patho questions really reliably. So the other piece is if you call my home, you have to talk to my husband. He usually answers the phone. Although he's adorable, he wants to know all about you and if you like the class and if I wear ugly shoes and all kinds of other important questions. So you just roll your eyeballs and answer Philip's question. If you do not have the ability I just admitted another student. If you don't have the ability to talk to Philip, just ask him nicely, please, don't talk to me. Can you not answer the phone and I'm going to leave a message? And that's fine too, because I have voicemail on the phone at home. The other thing I'm going to do is give you my cell phone number, and you can write this one down. Please, 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 please do not leave messages on my cell phone. I check my voicemail religiously at work and at home. I do not check my voicemail well on my cell phone. I just don't do it. If you text me using my cell number, please know I don't know who you are. You're not in my contacts. So you need to tell me who you are. So all those caveats. My cell number is 215-680-2015. And again, you're welcome to use my cell number. In fact, Philip may tell you to call my cell, okay, and then give you that number. So the overview of the course is here. The course objectives are here. You're welcome to review those at your leisure. They're pretty intense. I'm sure as soon as you thought about taking this course, you reached out to some of your colleagues and asked them if it was a hard course or a reasonable course or whatever. And I would suspect that your classmates told you that it is a challenging course. There's a lot of content. I hope that they said that this is a reasonable course, but one never knows, correct? I hope you're going to find that this is a reasonable course and you'll be able to be successful in it. Required text is here. A couple of you have reached out to me because McCants is quite expensive. I understand that. You can get a previous edition of McCants. You can survive the class without purchasing the textbook. I know you've never heard a teacher say that before, correct? There is only one content area that I'm going to mandate that you read, and that is the HIV area. Now, the HIV area in the textbook, I require students to read it because it is more updated information. However, this is a 2014 textbook. I am expecting a additional textbook to be published very soon. I don't know why that's flashing. So technically this textbook is becoming outdated. So if you're looking for new HIV information, let's say that you decide to do that as your case study topic for your paper, you may want to look in journals. They would be more updated even than your textbook is. Now, McCants is a challenging textbook. Has anybody tried to read it yet? Nobody's crossing their eyes that I can see. I only see part of the class. Nobody's shaking their heads that they tried to read this textbook. Okay. This is definitely a textbook that is like an encyclopedia. It is written in English, but it does not sound like it's written in English. It's something that you're going to need to read several times to understand because it's at quite a high level. Because of that, I have created synopsis of each of the content areas. They're called my handouts, and they're posted in shared files. They're also posted in the course shell. So before you go to McCants, read those handouts. All of the information that is contained on quizzes, I'm going to say this again, all of the quiz questions come from the handouts, and the YouTube videos. So I'm telling you, you do not have to read that textbook. In fact, you will be completely psychotic in about 1 week if you try to keep up with those readings in the book. They are too dense. They are too much work to try to keep up with. What I recommend that you do with the textbook is, if we talk about cell biology in class in the YouTube videos and you have a question and you don't understand it, or if you thought you understood it during the YouTube video and then it fell out of your head, that's when you can use McCants, is go in and review McCants, what McCants says about it. So go to the index in the back of the book and look up just that content area where you have a question, and read it, review it, and see if that clarifies. That's the way that I want you to use McCants. Are there any questions about that? If you have a question, you need to unmute yourself. Okay, hearing no questions, then we're all on the same playing field. The next thing in the syllabus is what you went to first. So this is what you have to do to get an A, correct? And I know that's where you all are. And congratulations, you all have A's right now, right? Because you've done assignments and gotten 100% on them. So there's 3 assignments across the semester in this class. You're going to have weekly message boards. Those students who completed the first message board, I was in it yesterday doing some grading, and there were still a number of students that had not completed the message board. So I'm assuming that there was a rush for the message board at the end, immediately, like today or last night. Message boards will have a very detailed case study, very, very sick case study as an exemplar, as a paper, the background. And then they'll have 6 questions for each of the message boards, very similar to the 5 questions you already answered for the first message board. So you need to go into that message board, and for the message board assignment, you're going to pick 2 questions. And we're going to talk more about this because there's a rubric for grading in the syllabus and an overview for how to complete the message board as we move forward. You can see that you're going to have 12 quizzes across the semester. If you completed the practice quiz, frankly, if you just accessed the practice quiz, you get 100% on your first quiz grade. So you guys already have 100 for your quiz average, which is wonderful. Each week, the quizzes will open at the end of class. So if you did not see the next quiz in ExamSoft, it should pop up now. And they will close at 4 p.m. the following Tuesday. And this is all on the topical outline. The final thing to the quiz that you see here is that you can drop your lowest quiz grade. So that's a good thing as you move across the semester. I do not complete your final grades using the grade calculation that is in Gradebook. I find it very, very difficult to use. I actually download your grades every single week and put them into an Excel spreadsheet and complete my grading that way. So as you get toward the end of the semester, I'm going to send out an email to you that says, I recommend that you download your grades and do a hand grade calculation. And this grade breakdown is exactly what you'll use. So you'll total up all of the points that you've received from your message board. It's a total of 24 points across the semester. You'll calculate your quiz average grade. You'll drop your lowest quiz before you do that, and then multiply that by 0.42 or 42%. And you'll also complete your case study paper and have that grade. And that represents 0.34% of your grade. So it's a very easy calculation. I can help you with that if you have questions, but that's what I recommend that you do. And then this grade scale right here is what is used for the letter grade of your grade that will be posted at the end of the semester. So I'm going to break here as I scroll down. Does anyone have any questions? Because you're all very diligently muted, which is wonderful. Okay, hearing no questions. As we continue down the syllabus, there's information about dropping your lowest quiz grade. If you miss a quiz, that can be the quiz that you drop. So don't, if there's a week that you couldn't take the quiz or whatever, you're going to see a 0 in Campus Cruiser. But again, that's the quiz grade that will be dropped. There are course policies here. Everyone needs to have access to a computer to use Zoom. So the only time, we don't have a mandated class meeting. This one was just strongly recommended. So you still will need, all right, it looks as though a student is having difficulty getting into class and is popping up. Nicole, were you successful? Can you just tell me? All right. Nicole, you might be muted. If you hover down at the bottom of your Zoom screen, in the bottom left, there's a microphone, and all you need to do is click on that, and I'll be able to hear you. Were you successful getting in, Nicole? I'm looking for you, but I don't see you, sweetie.
Can you hear me? I'm here.
Oh, cool. Yes, you made it. Excellent. Well done.
I think my computer don't work. I have to use my headphones.
Okay. There is something that happens when you click headphones into your laptop or your computer. And it didn't happen to me with my desktop, but it did happen to me with my laptop. And there's some little button that gets clicked off so that you have to use your headphones every time you use that device. I don't know what it is.
Okay, I have to look into that then.
Okay. If you ask your children, they'll be able to tell you.
Thank you.
Okay. That's who I go to with all my computer questions. Okay. There's information here under course policies regarding the ExamSoft. I think we kind of talked about ExamSoft already. Does anyone have any other questions regarding ExamSoft?
No, I think I'm okay with it. I emailed you earlier, but I had overlooked my password. But once I went back through my emails, I understand before each test, you will receive a new password.
That's perfect, Nicole. You're an expert on it now, honey. That's great. Good. Well done. Whoop, whoop. Okay. There's C deals with student learning. Nicole, what I'm going to ask you to do is mute, just because we can hear some background information. There's some feedback. So if you mute yourself and then just unmute if you have any questions, okay?
Okay, I will.
Thank you. There's information about student learning. Again, as a graduate class, you should expect to spend a minimum of 3 hours weekly on each credit. So we're talking about roughly 9 hours. Nikia, I see your hand up, sweetheart. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
I totally can. It is wonderful.
So I was looking over the syllabus as we were talking here, and it says you can utilize an open book and open note format. That is okay?
That's absolutely okay. So what you can do, and thank you very much for asking that question. What I would do, and you have to do everything the Kim Noble way, because that's the only way, that's my frame of reference, is I would have my notes right here. My notes would be all anally tabbed so I could go right to the information, correct? That's all good. It's all golden. If you take notes on the PowerPoint, if you print out the PowerPoints and do it that way, you can have all of that information open. I do not recommend you try to use the textbook during the quiz, because that gets people really freaky about the time, correct? You only have 40 minutes to take the quiz. So if you can definitely have time to look through notes, okay? Because sometimes the questions are knowledge level. They're just asking you to define or classify. It's very, very straightforward. The questions that students tend to read into are the more challenging questions, those application level. And you're not going to have a lot of those in the beginning. They're going to get more and more frequent as you move forward in the class. Did that answer your question?
Thank you, yes.
You're welcome. Now you have to tell me how to pronounce your name again so I don't destroy it.
It's Nikia, but most people call me Nikki, but you can call me either.
Oh, I like Nikki. Thank you, Nikki.
You're welcome.
Very good. Okay. Information about class meetings, again, even with the typo that's here, the only class meeting that I asked you to come to was this one, just so that we could be on the same kind of playing field. You'd get to see me in China, and we could talk through the syllabus. From here on out, our class meetings are PRN. Just means that you can come if you want. You do not have to come if you don't want to. So there's no punitive piece to that at all. Part E talks about late assignment. The only assignment that you're going to be submitting to me personally is your case study paper. If that assignment closes at 4 p.m., let's say you're right up to the last minute and you're trying to upload that, and you're having computer issues and you can't get the darn paper to upload before 4 p.m. and the assignment closes. If you have a life like I have, that would be something that would happen to me. Then you just shoot me an email and tell me what happened and then upload it to late assignment, and there won't be any punitive impact on your grade, okay? There is information here in the syllabus that talks about a 5-point loss per day for late papers. That would be the student that just doesn't reach out, that I don't hear from, and submits a paper 3 days after the fact. If you have a life event, and I understand that you are all adult learners, you're all working, you have families, children get sick, there are life events that occur. I understand all of those things. If anything like that should happen, all you need to do is reach out to me. If you reach out to me, I have the ability to make accommodations with your paper. So let's say your paper is due on January 1st, and I know that it's not. I'm using that kind of as a fictitious due date. If you reach out to me on December 25th and tell me that there's been a death in your family and because you just need an extension on the paper, that's fine. I can make that accommodation. But if you don't do that, and after the paper is submitted, you reach out and tell me that, you had a major life event while this was going on, I can't really do anything about that after, okay? So all I'm asking you to do is keep me in the loop. Then I can do whatever needs to be done, to provide accommodations for things that happen to all of us. There's a whole page of professional standards. Again, we as working nurses, and yes, I still work clinically in the PACU. I'll work almost full-time over the summer. I understand kind of all those standards that we have from a professional perspective. If you're interested in any of the updated ones, these are active links that if you put this up on your computer, they'll work. There are standards for code of conduct and ethics. This is probably most important in the clinical setting. However, we do hold you to these standards of kind of ethical approach. You are absolutely held to the academic honesty, the academic integrity policy of Widener University. If you go to shared files in N601, there is a folder that is entitled Additional Course Materials, and in that is where you'll find the academic integrity policy. So again, every time you go into a quiz, you are held to this academic integrity policy. And that's all I'll say about it. If you require any type of accommodations for learning, you just need to reach out to me early. I would do it in the next week so that we can contact disability services and make sure that any learning accommodations that you need, for instance, testing, etc., can be provided. So now we're down to the topical outline, and this is what you're going to live by. This is kind of that calendar that you're going to use as you move through the course itself. So you can see we're right here in this first one for 523 that we are doing our online Zoom meeting right now. You had due prior to 4 p.m. The practice quiz was due and the first message board was due. If something happened to impact your ability to complete those assignments for this first week, you've got a little wiggle room. You just need to reach out to me and let me know what was up, and we'll see what we can do to get you into these assignments to get credit for them. I don't want you to start off the course kind of behind the 8 ball already. So you can see all of the individual content areas are listed here. So this is all the stuff you've got to learn. And we're taking care of the course overview right now, which is a review of the syllabus. So that's one you can check off. We love to check things off. Quiz number 2 will go live at today as soon as the quiz, the class is over. I assume that Professor Ferry has this quiz up and active. I will check with her as soon as class is done. Remember, I am 12 hours ahead of you here in China, so she will receive this email in the middle of the night, and it might be that if this quiz is not immediately available, as soon as she gets into the office Wednesday morning, it'll open, okay? So it might be there's a delay on that end. You know that you already completed the first case study, and you can see I already opened the next case study. It's already open and available, ready to go. It's a case study entitled Billy Bottle. It's a young man that made some lifestyle choices that have impacted him, and it's from our content areas for this week. For example, Billy Bottle has some issues with cell biology, and he has some issues with a potential malignancy. You can also see listed here how extensive the reading is. For this content, there's multiple chapters. So we were talking about multiple pages of information in McCants. Again, I do not expect you to complete these readings. Instead, use your textbook as a reference. And you'll see this for each and every week. Information will open and close at 4 p.m. Did I hear a question?
Yeah, I have a question. So on this, if you see like week 3, it says the it isn't due until 6/13. Are they usually typically? Oh, on mine it says 6/27. That's why I printed this out and it has 6/27 for this to be on the 4th to be due. Oh, the 4th quiz would be due like 2 weeks later. But
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I apologize for that. I put up a draft syllabus early on, and you probably downloaded that draft syllabus.
Okay.
Okay, the final one is up, this one that I'm looking at right now. I was receiving requests early on from students just for an idea, and some of the dates and times were incorrect in that draft. I apologize for that.
That's okay. Thanks.
Okay, so this should be correct, and you're going to see it's a pattern that's repeated each week, which will get easier for you, okay? The content in the course is divided into modules. For example, this Module 1, Foundation, encompasses the first 3 weeks of content. When you go into the course shell, there's the ability to step walk through the entire course. Some students may choose to use that. Some students may choose to not. That is all discussed in that YouTube navigation video that's on the homepage. Did everybody have an opportunity to see that? Okay, if you didn't, that's there, and that can help you with the navigation. So when you go into the course, it's divided into modules. So module 1, section 1 will be this first content. Section 2 will be week 2, which is the inflammation and immune content. Section 3 will be the hematologic content. One final caveat is when you take a summer course, the content is really compressed, is a good way of saying. In the fall and spring semesters, the course takes place over 15 weeks. In the summer semester, even though this course takes place over both summer semesters, summer 1 and summer 2, it's only 12 weeks. So this first week is heavy. It has content essentially from 2 weeks in the spring and fall courses. The second week is also a week when you have a lot of content. Once you get past that, so hematologic is by itself. But then module 2, section 1, which is the week 4 content, fluid and electrolyte and renal are together. So those weeks you will have more YouTube videos. Those weeks your quizzes will actually contain questions from both content areas. Okay? Because this class is over 12 weeks instead of 15 weeks, if we were to be in a class setting where you were in class with me, we would be doing content for, instead of 2 hours and 50 minutes, it would be 3 hours and 30 minutes because you're compressed into 12 weeks rather than the 15 weeks. So does anybody have questions about that? So I'll speak it in English, and I'm going to tell you, week 1 is very content dense. Week 2 is very content dense. Week 4 is very content dense. And finally, the cardiovascular A and P content, which will be module 3, section 1, or week number 7 on this topical outline, has a ton of content. Those are weeks that I can tell you you're going to be sitting at your computer, rolling your eyeballs, listening to YouTube videos. Okay? Questions about that?
Hi, Dr. Noble, can you hear me?
I can. Who am I speaking to?
Okay. Hi, this is Chan.
Oh, perfect.
So for the first week, there are like 6 YouTube videos we have to watch, right?
I know.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure.
Yes. I'm looking for you. There you are, Chan. Good.
Mm-hmm.
So you already found those YouTube videos. They're on the homepage, correct? Those links?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then associated with them, I'm using you as an example, my friend, so thank you very much. There's an associated handout and PowerPoint, correct?
Yeah.
So as 2 weeks, 2 content area weeks, you're going to have 2 PowerPoints and 2 handouts. That'll be on the quiz. Okay. It's still just going to be 20 questions. Okay. And 40 minutes, but it'll have a bigger content area. Okay. And those YouTube videos have been up since the course shell opened, so hopefully you've gotten a running start with them.
Yeah, I've watched maybe
you already agonized through a couple of them. Good. That's good. That's helpful. All righty. Any other questions, Sean?
No. You look very awake.
You're what, honey?
I said you look very much awake.
Yeah. We had the demo where we met earlier, and I was still in my jammies, and my hair was standing straight up. So you guys have a better version. I'm actually dressed, Sean, which is always good. Okay.
Dr. Noble.
Yes.
I have a question.
Excellent. Is this Michelle?
No, it's Carlage.
Oh, I see Michelle's mouth moving and it's not. I'm looking for you, my dear. There you are. Excellent.
For the PRN Zoom class,
Yes.
would you still record those and place it on a site just to like over for the people who just want to take a look and see what questions were asked?
Excellent. Okay. So historically, for everyone, what I've done, thank you for that question. And yes, I will, is the take home message. What I have done historically is record the PRN Zoom meetings so that you can come, you don't actually have to come to the Zoom meeting. There'll be a YouTube video on the homepage that is a recording of questions that students asked and any clarifications that I've done during that Zoom meeting. So yes, as long as Foy follows me around and reminds me to record it each week, I will do that. These first 2 weeks, I don't have access to YouTube, so I'm going to have to rely on our IT guy. His name is Andrew, to put those up on the homepage. I am recording it right now. I'll save it locally. I don't know how that's going to wash out, Kerlange, so I don't know that this will work for the first 2 weeks, but as soon as I get home, I'll be able to do it. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for that question. Good question. Other questions?
I actually have another question.
Good. I love your questions.
For the paper that's due, I know that it looks like on there's different options where we could submit it to you for a draft.
Absolutely.
So if we miss like the first due date of a draft, can we still submit it after that, or do we wait till the next due date you have written down to submit a draft?
And thank you for that question. I lost you. I can't find you. I love to see people talking. There we are. Okay. There you are. Thank you. For the draft paper, let's look at that. So you see the word optional here, correct? Okay. That means you don't have to do a draft paper. Okay. I strongly recommend that you do a draft paper purely because it's a complete get out of jail free. I will grade it and provide you extensive feedback, but the grade does not stand. It's not used at all in your calculation. So if you do submit a draft case study paper, the next week I will get it back to you, okay? And then you will have multiple weeks. No, 2 weeks, correct? I'm sorry, I'm scrolling too fast. It's making you sick to your stomach. So you get the draft back actually on the 4th of July, and you have until the 18th of July to do your final draft. And let's say that, life intrudes, you don't have time to do the draft case study paper. The only thing you need to submit is this final case study paper, okay?
Yeah, actually, I see like 3 different dates optional that you could submit the paper for a draft.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that on the paper, the syllabus that you downloaded?
Yeah, on my syllabus for under week 3, there's an option that says optional draft case study paper due. And then on week 6 for June 27th.
Okay.
There you go.
And then there's another optional on week 7, which is the 4th of July.
Okay, so this one's garbage.
Which
you're welcome to submit a draft case study paper on this date if you want to. That's fine. I mean, I'll leave it there because it's in the syllabus and it's the posted syllabus. But I don't know that you're going to be, go for it. If you want to submit a draft, then that's great. This is the draft. That is the true draft paper, kind of the final draft paper. Does that make any sense? So I will happily, it's here, I will happily provide you feedback if you want to submit a draft on the 6th of June. Okay. I will also provide you feedback if you want to submit one a month later on the 7th or the 4th of July, right? Okay. And then your final paper, the final paper is actually due on the 18th of July.
Dr. Noble, I don't know. I printed out the actual calendar that you have, and you do have optional dates as well on there.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, you don't have optional dates on there. You just have the 27th as a date to submit your draft paper.
The 27th
of June, yeah. So I don't know. This is just like I don't know if you can see it, the calendar that was on the course.
The course calendar. Oh, okay. I understand why that is. Okay. The drafts do not count towards your grade, Nikki, so they're not going to appear on that calendar. Okay. That calendar is it's done in the course via assignments. And even though the draft is there as an assignment, it doesn't count in towards your grade. So therefore the dates, I can put in dates, due dates if you want me to, in the course shell. They're not there now.
No, you don't need to do that. I just, thank you. That makes me understand better.
Yeah. That's just a click and I can happily do that. Other questions? So again, thank you for all those questions. You have the option to submit a case study paper. I strongly recommend that you do it because that's where you'll get the feedback. Okay. And remember that I'm going to scroll. This makes people nauseous. Sorry. Your case study paper is a pretty significant chunk of your grade. It's about a third of your grade. Just say yes, mother, and I'll shut up. Okay. Sorry. I laughed at my own jokes. It's terrible. Okay. So I'm now below the topical outline. I'm on page 6 of the syllabus and we're moving down. There's information about the PRN Zoom meetings here in very colorful format. Here you have a link to the Zoom that is an active link in this Word document. You know that you can get to Zoom on the course homepage. Excellent. Somebody just came to class. Very good. Okay. At the end of this syllabus review, if everyone would just stay so I can do a final attendance, I would appreciate it. Thank you. So whoever just joined us, welcome, welcome. So there's lots of different ways you can get to Zoom. I can also send you a link via email if you ever struggle with, you've got a new device, you're in California, can you send me the link to Zoom if you can't get into the class? So we've got lots of options. Here's the information for the online message boards each week. So there's some overview information. I have a real quick summary. I'm going to go down to it. In summary, this is the requirement for each week. So each week for the message board, you are to pick 2 of the 6 questions. So there'll be the case study, and then there'll be 6 different questions that you can use or you can answer. And if I stop sharing, I'm going to try to go into Campus Cruiser and show you what I see. I can move this down. Let's see if that's it. Okay, can everybody see the course homepage? You guys see the course homepage? Oh,
yes, I can see it.
Good, thank you. Good. And I'm just going to go in one way to the message board. So one way that you can do this is use these navigation bars that are on the left-hand side. Oh man. So would everybody please mute? You've got some feedback. Mute is down in the lower left-hand corner. Thank you. So if you go into class tools, down to message board, it'll bring you to all of the message boards as soon as it loads. And I have very, very slow Wi-Fi here in China. So here's Billy Bottle, and Billy Bottle is open. You can see that. And actually my Wi-Fi is really fast at 5:17 in the morning. Billy Bottle case study is here. Just trying to show this to you, sorry, okay. And this is the story of Billy Bottle's disease. You can see that there's past medical history information here. There's symptoms that he has. There is descriptors of kind of what kind of findings he has. Surgical history is here, and there's lab work and vital sign information here. So it's a pretty detailed case study with lots of different data. I'm going to go back to the individual posting, message board posting on Billy Bottle. Again, we looked at the case study, but you can see that there's 6 different questions that are here. Your assignment, should you choose to accept it, is to answer 2 of these questions. So you go through, tab through these. I would recommend that you look at all 6 of the questions. And then let's say that you like question number 1. You're going to answer question number 1. So question number 1, when it loads, chugga, 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 tells you to choose 2 points in his past medical history and to talk about them to a cellular level for why they are a risk factor for the finding on Billy's CAT scan. So I can tell you that Billy is an alcoholic. Billy has some lifestyle choices. He chooses to drink heavily and potentially smoke. And now Billy has developed a mass in his esophagus. And that's what the CAT scan findings tell you. So let's say you choose alcoholism and you choose smoking. Those are 2 factors in his past medical history that are known to contribute to esophageal issues. So you're going to go into the literature, and you're going to find one journal article. The assignment calls for at least 1 reference that is beyond your textbook or a textbook and beyond the class notes. So I will never admit that I said to you, and this recording will be gone forever. I recommend that you go into and do a Google search. We've all done those. And go to Google Scholar, because many times Google Scholar has current articles that you can click on and actually get to the article itself. So students have successfully used, for example, the American Cancer Society website, because there is updated evidence-based information on the American Cancer Society's website. Information regarding esophageal cancer would be totally appropriate. You cannot go to Bob's website and Bob chooses to just write about his esophageal cancer. That is not an evidence-based, research level kind of a site. I want you to find good references, because as an advanced practice nurse, when you see a patient as a nurse practitioner, or you're a clinical nurse specialist working in your area, you're going to need to be able to access references that provide perhaps recommendations, provide background for the rationales. In this instance, the question's dealing with the link with past medical history. So what is it about smoking that contributes to esophageal cancer? That's the basic question. So you're actually talking about what is in cigarette smoke that has been associated as a trigger for esophageal cancer. Okay, that's what we're talking about with that cellular level. We're talking about what it is in cigarette smoke that influences the cellular function. Now, if you're the first person to answer this question, man, you can go to town, correct? You can, really divide, or you can, the playing field is wide open. If you're the 7th person to answer this question, it's going to be a little more limited, correct? Because I'm going to tell you, you need to provide unique information. You need to provide new information. It's not acceptable. You won't receive full credit for it if you just repeat what Martha wrote above, or you repeat what 2 people have written above about alcoholism. So perhaps you'll pull out malnutrition and the link with cancer, or whatever it is that you see in that past medical history. So what I'm telling you is, if you don't do these until Tuesday at 10:30 in the morning, your classmates have already had a week to get there before you, correct? And I won't say the easy things, but the more easily understood things are going to be present. You're going to have to come up with a unique response to the case study question. And it may be that if 11 or 10 people already posted to question number 1, you know that you don't have an access. The question number 1's kind of moot, even though that's the one you really want to answer. 10 people have already answered it, and there's a limitation in the syllabus about that. So I'm going to stop sharing this area in the message board unless someone has questions relating to the actual posted message board.
Professor.
Yes.
Hi, this is Nikema. So I, like, for example, you were stating, because I actually went through it while you were talking. Like vital signs, like, for example, one of the questions about vital signs, and one of, like, the O2 sets, you asked, like, pick 2 vital signs and describe it at cellular level. When you say cellular level, like, for example, the O2 set, it was like 82 or 85%. You want us to answer as to why or how it's affecting his cells. Is that what you mean?
You can do it exactly like that. That's perfect.
Okay.
And how do I pronounce your first name, my dear?
It's Nikema.
Nikema, because I'm going to goof that up, Nikema. I apologize.
You can just call me Kima.
Okay, that works. Thank you. Floyd did the same thing, one of your classmates. She has a beautiful long name that I totally destroyed. So you're wise, my child. Good. Yes, you can absolutely talk about an O2 sat of 82% and how that impacts the cells. So hypoxemia, whatever you choose. You can also talk about smoking. And the reason that O2 sat, one of the reasons, and remember, there's never one answer for everything. There's always multiple answers. So maybe one reason that O2 sat is 82% is because he's smoking, correct? Yeah. And smoking actually does this to the alveoli, which impacts gas exchange, which then would, you know what I mean? That would be the cellular level. You may also say, I bet Billy Bottles got pneumonia. I think he has pneumonia. And because of that pneumonia, when you get bacterial infection in the lung, blah, 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 right? Those are all different ways to approach the same piece. Okay?
Okay.
Good.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for that question. Wonderful question. Good. Other questions? She set a high bar. And she's using her phone, which is totally cool. Okay, hearing no more questions, I'm going to stop sharing the message board and go back to our syllabus. How can I do that? Yes. There we go. Okay. So that was the first piece, to respond to 2 of 6 questions. Okay, the second piece is to post a comment. And you all are beautiful commenters. You did a great job commenting on other students' postings on the message board. So I don't think that that's a challenge for you. You can see that there's a rubric for grading, and it takes you through how I'm going to come up with the points. You're going to be graded 1 point for each of your 2 different questions that you answer, and the rubrics are here. Each time, I wonder why that split. Okay. For each posting that you do, you need to post at least 1 comment to a student's posting. And the comments aren't just great job. The comments are more like information. I thought it was really great, Martha, how you talked about the link with cancer and alcoholism. I found an article perhaps that said X, Y, and Z. You don't have to do it that way. Or the way that you presented that information about alcoholism was totally new to me. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. Those would be great comments. Okay. And it's all the way down. Man, I screwed up this syllabus, didn't I? I don't know why APA is here, guys. Because here's the, so this information is not underneath the message board, even though it appears as though it is. It's not a requirement for the message board. The message board is not APA formatted. Okay, there's no format requirements for the message board. The only requirements you have for the message board is just to create some type of reference that your classmates can then pull themselves. So to have, you know, all of the information there, the author's name, the year, that type of thing, but it does not need to be in correct APA format. This APA format information is truly for the case study paper, which follows below. What I have here are common student mistakes. So when you're doing your paper, I suggest that you go to these common mistakes here in the syllabus, because these are things I'm writing over and over and over again when I'm grading draft papers. They're things that students very commonly do. Common grammar is here. And I recommend strongly that if you struggle with grammar, especially if you're a student that English is a second language, you utilize the Writing Center. The Writing Center contact information is there. They are a wonderful resource. The key to utilizing the Writing Center is that you provide them enough time to give you feedback and to be able to do it with you. It does not matter whether you're a Chester student or a Widener student. You can electronically send your paper to the Writing Center, and they will electronically provide you feedback. You can also set up a time when on Monday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they'll be able to use the phone with you and review your paper. You'll both have a graded paper and they can go through it. So there's a variety of different ways they can provide you feedback. They're an awesome resource. They are housed on the Chester campus. So if you want to come to Chester, you can actually walk in. Again, you're going to need to give them your paper right up front so that they have an opportunity to review it, but then they're going to be able to sit down with you and go through your paper with you. So it's a phenomenal resource if you're someone that is perhaps new to the graduate program and needs to work on writing. It is a phenomenal resource if you're somebody that is really challenged by writing. And prior to my graduate studies, man, I struggled with writing big time. I had a lot of problems with it. But I can sit down and write a paper now in an afternoon, believe it or not, if I have the lit search already conducted. So you will get really good at doing this in your graduate experience. Okay. The rubric for the case study assignment, this is actually the rubric that I'm going to use. So there's an overview information regarding Turnitin. If you're not familiar with Turnitin, when you submit your paper through Widener, through assignments, through Campus Cruiser, it will be automatically uploaded to Turnitin. You do not need to have an account at Turnitin directly. You don't need to access Turnitin all by yourself. It's something that happens automatically. I will receive a score. If your score is over 20%, and you do a draft paper, you and I will talk through strategies to get that draft or that Turnitin score at 20 or below 20 where it needs to be. If you have a Turnitin score of 20%, it means 1/5 of your paper has been previously published in another source. It means that 1/5 of your paper has been taken from this source. And that really is the threshold for this course. You can't do more than that. Now, I've had students who truly out of a knowledge gap, they don't understand how to correctly cite and reference, where Turnitin scores have been 50 and 60%. Again, if you submit that draft paper, we have the opportunity to fix that. If you submit a final paper without a draft, there's nothing I can do. That's the final submission. So again, there's a rationale for why I recommend that you do draft papers. The actual written case study paper overview description is here. It tells you that in this case study paper, you need to find at least 3 current peer-reviewed research level journal references. So 2 of them can come out of the medical literature. That's not a problem. As nurse practitioners and clinical nurse specialists, we're going to be looking at all research level references. We're not just looking at nursing. I take it a step further and require that you have at least 1 research level nursing journal reference. The caveat to this is, you can reach out to me, you and I can sit down and do a search together. I can help you with this. I am very good at doing quick lit searches. So I can absolutely help you. I don't know what just happened. Okay. So absolutely reach out to me. Another thing that I think is a good idea is to reach out with your idea of what you're going to do, because the syllabus talks about easy case study topics, such as I've had a student that did a circumcision as a case study paper in pathophysiology. Again, that they had an excellent paper. They did exactly what the rubric required, but a circumcision is not a what I would consider to be a academically challenging topic. So that would not be an A paper. Another student did a fractured finger. Again, these are not what I would consider to be really challenging, rigorous topics. Now, I don't want you to run out and do sepsis. Sepsis would be a very challenging, rigorous topic. You would be writing a dissertation. So make sure that if you choose HIV infection, you choose just one part of it, because you could go on for weeks about HIV infection. So we need to talk about it, and I can help you with that. 10% of this case study paper is you're going to actually provide case study data. So this is a case-based paper. And I know this has been a long time. You guys have been really good. We're almost done. I'm asking you to perhaps pick a patient that you took care of. Provide me fictitious data, not real data. I don't want a HIPAA violation. Perhaps it's someone that you live with that has a disease, multiple sclerosis, or whatever that disease is that you'd like to know more about. Perhaps it's somebody you saw in the ED yesterday. You've never heard of this disease before, and this is something you're interested in. Perhaps you're a diabetic educator, and you're interested in looking into, how to I'm sorry, somebody sent me a chat. Okay, so a couple of students had to leave. All right, I'll look at that again in a minute. Okay. If you're a diabetic educator and you want to know more about foot ulcers and what your options are for treatment modalities, so what you can actually talk to your patients about as you're educating them about diabetic foot ulcers, that would be a great one. Don't choose all of diabetes. Again, that's a dissertation. Instead, pick that one piece of it. So I'll be happy to help you with that case study. The case study is very, very easy information. What's more challenging is 40% of your paper, and that's to talk about the patho. The patho needs to be beyond our class discussions. So you can't just kind of take information from the handout. It actually needs to be new information. I know what's in the handouts. I know what's in the YouTube videos, and I'm asking you to learn new information. Talk about it beyond perhaps that class discussion. So that's 40% of the paper. That's a majority of your paper. 30% of the paper is those 3 articles is deriving EBP recommendations. So you're talking about diabetes. Maybe one of the articles, the journal articles that you use, is actually the systematic review for how to manage blood sugar. So maybe what you'll talk about as one of your EBP recommendations is that that blood sugar needs to be maintained in this range, and the rationale for that. If you maintain it in this range, there's not as much vascular injury, or whatever it is. You can refer back to the patho that was discussed in the previous part of the paper. It could be, if you're talking about diabetic foot ulcers, you're talking about hyperbaric therapy. There's articles out about that. You can talk about the utilization of different products in the hospital for foot ulcers, whatever it's going to be. And then the final part to this is 20% is grammar and APA format. And that's pretty straightforward. It's 10 for each. And there are resources that are here. One of the YouTube videos that's on the homepage right now is an APA review. That'll be up for the entire semester. So if you need to review how to format headings, that's in that APA format review. And then I strongly recommend the draft paper, and that's here again. And that's the end of the syllabus. So you survived this long, disgusting discussion about the syllabus. What other questions do you have? I know you guys are done.
I think you went through everything clearly.
You what, honey?
I think you explained everything. Okay, I don't have any questions.
Perfect. Okay. Then very, very quickly, I'm just going to look. Is Jasmine here? Did Jasmine come in? Okay. How about Samantha? And I know you told me, is it Seema? Is that correct? Did I tell you?
Kima.
Pardon me?
Kima.
Tima?
Kima.
Kima. K. Good. Me. Okay. I know you're here, honey. Thank you so much. Where are we? Boy's laughing because it only took me about 4 weeks to get her name down. Okay. So Kima.
I actually texted them and told her that you were going to mess her name up.
Oh, did you? You scamp. You scamp. You set me up. Selma, are you here? All righty. Monique, did Monique come in? Oh,
yes, I'm here.
Excellent. Thank you. Welcome back. Monique is another excellent resource for Nobilisms. Okay. Did Rosetta come in? Okay. Anthony? All righty. And that's everybody. Perfect. Well, you guys are excused. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I just started one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If anybody has questions you want to ask individually, you're welcome to hang out.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Noble. Bye.
Best.
Thanks.
About submitting the paper to the grammar, the writing center.
Uh-huh.
You have to have an intro and a conclusion, but you don't have to have your full paper. They give you pointers on how to write. Is that correct?
They do. I'm sure that they would be able to provide you feedback for an intro and a conclusion. If you're really looking for feedback, though, it might be helpful to have a whole draft paper. So
you basically have the whole paper in hand before you call and make an appointment.
correct. They, but they'll look at just the intro and conclusion if that's where your questions are.
Okay.
They'll look through whatever you want, Lauren.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Noble, I have a question.
Good. I love your questions.
For the message board, do you well, because it's like the videos, is it okay to attack the message board without actually watching all the videos, or should we just watch all the videos first and then do the message board?
Oh, the message board is an application. I'm sorry.
Since it's a lot of us, so the message board is technically first come, first serve. It's like, that kind of scares me.
Okay, so the content area, the content that we're learning for the week is on the YouTube videos, correct? But that message board opens up at 4 o'clock. You can go ahead and look in there. Do you know what I mean? And start formulating that right away if you want to. Okay. The YouTube video and the message board technically both open up together. So you can do it in whatever sequence you want, Kurlanj.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions? Man, I'm in black and white. That's pretty scary.
You are in black and white.
Ghost.
I did have one quick question.
Good.
Sorry, everybody. I had to duck out and serve dinner where I work. We all know the older residents get a little angsty if they don't get dinner.
So does
I. Well, it's true, but especially when they're 80, they get a little wild. I did want to ask. I think I had emailed you. Hopefully I sent it. It might still be in draft. I did the message board. I also did the quiz before.
Good.
And I just want to check. For those, if they're already done, we did it. There's this whole separate section where you say to go submit. It says you haven't submitted your assignment.
Okay.
And then there's a box. And I may have missed that, and I apologize. I had to duck out for a minute. But I just want to make sure that, because yesterday I had emailed you, and I was like, I thought I did those.
Okay. On the assignment side of the Campus Cruiser, that's where I put the grades in. That I have not yet done, Laura.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that wasn't something I had missed.
No. And actually, let me just check. Okay. You've gone into the message board even after I've been in, so I don't have your actual grade here. For that first message board, if you just went in and answered even partially the questions, you'll get full credit for it.
Okay. I just want to make sure that wasn't something I had missed.
Correct.
And then real quick, other than that, if for whatever reason we can't do the classes, like today you had said you record this.
Yes.
Is that posted in somewhere where we can go back in and look at it?
Perfect. And that's what Kurlanj had asked earlier. And it's a great question. Is as long as someone prompts me and reminds me, because darn it, I forget every time. I get so excited to see you. I just need to record it. Once I record it, then I can convert it from a recording into a YouTube video and post it on the homepage.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
This syllabus review will be right in the center of the homepage. Okay.
Oh, wonderful. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right. You guys are free to leave if you would like. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, my dear.